Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. For today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Barcelona versus Eintracht Frankfurt game. We're going to be diving into the game, reviewing it, seeing what went on, and take a look at our Europa League run. And now that it's finished, we're going to give it a review. So, getting right into it, we lost our last Europa League game against Eintracht Frankfurt at home. We lost it 2-3. I have mixed feelings about this game. As I was watching it, we started at first in the worst way possible. We started off by giving a penalty during the 4th minute. Eric Garcia grabbing onto one of their players in the penalty box. And the ball came in from a cross, and the player fell. Easy pen for the referee. Big mistake from Eric Garcia grabbing onto the defender in a crucial moment in the game. And we started off losing. We started off we already had a bad start. And this was especially important. We needed to start well because not only did we come into this game with a 1-1 draw that we managed to salvage in the away leg. Today, the home stadium was filled with Eintracht Frankfurt fans. It was estimated to believe that roughly around 30,000 fans from Eintracht were in the Camp Nou, and so if Xavi said, like, it felt very divided, it felt like a final, and since we lost that home advantage, it was very important that we didn't start off poorly, and that's exactly what we did, and because of that, I think that the team just they already were in a bad start. They were already going a very uphill battle, and I don't think Barcelona recovered from that. Barcelona started up with, I think, their strongest lineup, with Ter Stegen in goal, Mingueza, Araujo, Garcia, Jordi Alba in defense, Pedri, Busquets, Gavi in midfield, Ousmane Dembele, Aubameyang, and Ferran Torres up top. Now, Barcelona started with their strongest, their best forwards. In midfield, Frenkie de Jong didn't start. Gavi replaced him. Frenkie de Jong was suffering from some illness, and that's why he didn't start the game, but he later came in when Pedri got injured. And devastating news about what happened to Pedri. It is it's reported that Pedri has suffered an injury, and he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, and that means that he's going to be out for the season. And it's very tough to hear, because not only did we lose this game, we're out of the Europa League, a competition that we didn't qualify for, a competition that we didn't want to be in, a competition that we dropped down to, but a competition that we had to win nonetheless, and just didn't turn out like that. And not only did we lose this competition, we also lost Pedri for the rest of the season. And Pedri, you saw how at the start of the season he was playing almost every game. He then got injured, came back, got injured, relapsed, and then had a little spell away from the team. And then when he came back, he put in those magical performances. And now against Galatasaray, against Sevilla, and now he's out injured, and now he's out injured for the rest of the season. So now we're going to see who's going to step up for Barcelona. We're going to see Gavi starting more. We're going to see more prominence given to Nico, more prominence given to, hopefully, Ricky Puig. This is their opportunity to step up. But going back to the lineup, in midfield, I think Xavi started well. In defense, I think the only questionable choice would be Mingueza. After Mingueza has been away from the team for so long, to put him back into such a high pressure game, I think that was a mistake. you can also look at, hey, could you bring in Clement Longley, put him as a left center back, Eric Garcia as a right center back, and Ronald Araujo at the right back. But I think what Xavi wanted to do was have Araujo, his best defender, be in the core of our defense. But it didn't work out. It showed clearly that Mingueza, it wasn't his game. It wasn't his game. He wasn't up to the level of the game. He wasn't up to speed after being gone away from the team for so long. And this brings into focus our lack of options in depth. Dani Alves wasn't available for the Europa League. He wasn't registered. And Xavi has recently told the club, reports have emerged that Xavi is asking the club for a right back, a left back, a winger, and a striker this summer. And I think that's key. We've talked about previously how the rumors about Mbappe, Haaland, Lewandowski, or Salah. I don't think that this should be Barcelona's priority. I think Barcelona's priority should be reinforcing the entire team, build a core, and reinforcing, add complements that add pieces that complement to the bigger picture to the team. Because as much as an Erling Haaland would fit in amazingly, spending over 150 million for one player, I think it's ludicrous. And on top of that, player who recently has been very injury prone, Barcelona should not. They should go into the summer thinking about the club, thinking about the future, thinking about the finances. We have to be very smart regarding our decisions that we take. We cannot be taking any risks, and the risks that we do take, they have to be very minimal. So, now moving on to the performance of the team, I think that the team didn't perform at the standard that it has been performing during recent weeks. Barcelona, after the international break, it hasn't. They've been slow in their game. They need to catch back up to speed. And Barcelona, over the two legs against Frankfurt, we didn't play well. We saw how in the away leg, Barcelona were absolutely just no match for Eintracht Frankfurt. We couldn't match their intensity, their high press, but we managed to keep it 1-1. We managed to score, and we managed to leave the game with a draw. And taking it back to the Camp Nou, we were expecting to win the game. But going into this game, the opposite happened. We were expecting a big crowd that would support us, and that didn't happen. And that's really sad. Roughly around 30,000 fans in the stadium were Eintracht Frankfurt. Looking at the Camp Nou, it was like a sea of white. That it was so embarrassing, and it really didn't help the players at all. I think Barcelona did not play well at all for the majority of the game, and so congratulations to Eintracht Frankfurt, because they really played well. But you saw how in the last 10 minutes Barcelona were putting on the pressure. Barcelona were being the Barcelona of the recent weeks, and Barcelona were playing really well. But I think today's loss, or last week's loss, it was a combination of factors. Us not playing well, bad start, lots of away fans, big misses, poor refereeing decisions. I think all those factors led to this big loss, and the big losses that I would say, like, the big factors that led to it was like the away fans and the poor performance. I think those were the two biggest factors. And looking at the team, I was rating each player. I would rate the performance, I'd say, like a 6. A 6. That the team was very poor. Barcelona was not up to standard. Reviewing the game, We started off with a penalty at the 4th minute. We conceded that. Barcelona tried to get back into the game. We right after a couple minutes later, Aubameyang had this chance to tie the game. That would have changed the game completely, but he headers the ball over the goal. It's a easy chance. Eintracht Frankfurt later from an amazing strike from Bode, their striker. He from very far out he fires a shot and that goes top corner. And it makes it really tough because now we're 2-0 down in a big occasion, and now Eintracht Frankfurt with the crowd behind their back, they just have freedom to play their game. They have the momentum, and going into the second half, Aubameyang has a huge opportunity to pull it back to 2-1 in such a crucial moment, where scoring that goal right after the start of the second half, it would completely change the game. Barcelona would have the crowd back. We would have the momentum. We would have the momentum to be able to go into the game, but it wasn't to be. We didn't have a penalty that touches the Eintracht Frankfurt player, but the referee doesn't award us. VAR was supposedly down, but then as Barcelona score a couple minutes later, VAR is apparently working. So VAR doesn't work for when it favors us, but it does when it goes against us, and it doesn't feel fair. VAR should be working at all times. The referee should be looking at every decision, but that doesn't give us excuses. Then another goal from Kostic later in the 67th minute. Kostic was fantastic. Put in real shift over these last two legs. So he makes it 3-0. And then Barcelona just has everything against them. 3-0 down at home, fans going crazy. And it just, that's it. I believe the players also felt like a feeling of defeat. Later in the last 10 minutes or so, Barcelona really put on the pressure. Xavi throwing everything to try to get back into the game. Sergio Busquets with a wonder strike from outside the box. He pulls in scores an amazing volley, and then we receive a penalty at the very final minutes of the game, and then he pulled it back to 3-2, but overall just too little too late. And this game is a bag of mixed emotions because Barcelona didn't play well. We had the stadium against us, but we should remember that this is a project. This takes time. This Barcelona team is not the final product. We should not throw away all the progress that we've made in the past couple of weeks and months just because of one bad game. We should look into the future. We should work hard. We should take this as a learning experience and think, hey, we have work to do. We have a huge summer ahead. Let's prepare as much as possible for next season. And the priority for this season is to finish Champions League because we need the Champions League. That is our priority for this season, since we've been knocked out of all the remaining competitions. So we should try our best and look forward. But this was my review of the Eintracht Frankfurt game, some of my emotions, some of my thoughts on the game. It was a very tough loss, a very sad day for the club, for what happened in the stands. But this was all for today's episode. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all for the next week's episode. Thank you, guys.